Hi, I'm Artie Nemko. Kids have hated school for time immemorial. Lots of people, even in college, hate school. Some love it, some become professional students. But it is a perennial question. Why do I need to know that? Is there a better use of my time? Here are my best thoughts, as fair-minded as I can be. A certain percentage of kids, students, probably could drop out in the 5th grade and learn a tremendous amount on their own, perhaps better use of their time and the state's money or private school money than sitting in that classroom, especially in today's mixed ability classes where you've got newcomers to America and fluent native speakers of English and developmentally disabled kids and genius kids in the same class because of political exigencies. But most kids need the school because of simply start with the custodial factor. Parents are working there. These days, in almost all locales, 2 parents have to work if there is a 2-parent couple in order to pay the rent, let alone afford the mortgage. So there's the custodial function of school. And of course, there's few who would argue that most kids need to be taught to read, one way or the other, whether it be phonics or by context or being read aloud to or whatever, and basic numeracy, the number sense, being able to estimate, be able to figure out what are the probabilities. Yes, and addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, because it's a mistake to always rely on a calculator. So for those basics, some school is necessary, and socialization, of course. And teaching them health. I wish there were schools more practical and taught more about the wise use of money and budgeting, health issues that kids don't already know, sex education, of course. So there's that. But what if a kid says, okay, but why do I need to learn about the history of the American Revolution? It's 250 years ago, let alone the causes of the Peloponnesian War. And yeah, I know slavery was bad, so the Civil War ended. That was great. Lincoln was great. But do I really need scaffolded curriculum? We teach it in so many different grades, all the way from probably 1st grade all the way through graduate school. Does every kid really need to know geometric theorems, quadratic equations, stochastic processes in chemistry, foreign language, which we so often deify? The real truth is that it is really hard to get to more than restaurant Spanish or French or German or Farsi in a classroom. Language acquisition naturally occurs nice and easily when you're 1, 2, 3 and gets ever more difficult. And so we normally teach foreign language maybe in 6th grade, 7th grade, but very often in high school. Is that smart? And of course, government has created this mammoth bureaucracy with incredible paperwork and teachers who get lifetime job security after 2 years, which doesn't exactly encourage excellence. And everybody gets the same pay, whether you're an excellent teacher and shown great results in student growth in reading and math and critical thinking, or you minimal results or no results. I think school is America's most overrated product, college too. They bury the studies that show that the amount of average student growth in reading, writing, critical thinking, mathematical reasoning from freshman to senior in college is 45%, I think it was 36 or 45%, grew not at all. Despite the 4, 5, 6 years it takes to graduate, and that assumes you graduate. 40% don't graduate even if given 6 years. And there's so much today of education, especially at the college level, but also high school, is creating social justice warriors. The curriculum deifying women and minorities and vilifying white men. Does that really serve, especially the amount of time that's spent on it without countervailing views? Does that really teach critical thinking? I really believe that education needs tremendous reinvention, so that instead of the usual assortment of teachers, good, bad, and indifferent, which are more likely to be indifferent these days or worse, because in the old days, the best and brightest women saw teaching as the highest profession they could aspire to. And so we've got some amazing women teaching our children. But today, with half of law schools and medical schools being women, our best and brightest generally don't choose teaching. And again, because you're going to get the same pay no matter whether you're great or terrible, and it's not going to be great pay. And, so I believe that what we really need are, even at early grades, maybe not first, second, or third, but fairly early on, classes need to be dream team taught classes, taught by the nation's or even the world's finest teachers who are transformational and fascinating, online, using simulations and videos, and that kids shouldn't be promoted based on a grade, but based on passing these modules. Can they read to a certain level? Can they estimate reasonably in math? Are they able to estimate probabilities, make reasonable probabilistic judgments? There definitely should be modules around critical thinking. We're very good at training ideologues. We're not great at teaching critical thinking. Not all wisdom is held on a placard. And yes, extracurriculars are important, supervised extracurriculars. And if anything, I think we need probably more supervision in guiding kids on the playground. And yet, ironically, that's where we let the kids just do whatever they want, unless they're beating the hell out of another kid. That seems to be a mistake. I also think that theater and music and sports are not only more motivating to most kids than academics, but they may teach more life lessons, especially if the teacher is wise. If that basketball coach is teaching the balance of teamwork and individual effort and drive and accentuating your strengths and your weaknesses and being a gracious loser and a gracious winner. In theater, you get to read again and again, if you're in a play, all of the wisdom that exists in plays. And all that repetition makes it sink in instead of floating in and floating out like most school curriculum, where you have to read this whole fat textbook or books after books after books, especially in college, but even before. Theater is great, and it teaches teamwork, it teaches poise, public speaking, the integration of everything from English to art to leadership. In music, it's kind of almost a miracle. Music can take you from a bad mood to a good mood without any negative side effects. It is no matter how intellectual you are, listening to wonderful music, from the best rock and pop music back to Mozart and Beethoven. Those are wonderful things, and those are key to the life well led. And instead we have a curriculum that's larded with stuff nobody needs to know, and brainwashing advocacy that is antithetical, fancy word is orthogonal, to teaching critical thinking. Because there usually are multiple legitimate sides to an issue, but we're so interested these days in getting people to believe what is the current zeitgeist, what we believe is the social justice warrior correct thing, which ultimately is not in the service of a good society. That's what Stalin insisted on. It's what Stalin from the communist perspective, and Hitler from the Nazi horrible perspective. Of course, Stalinist extremism was also horrible. There is legitimate debate that should be had around socialism versus capitalism versus a blend. But it should be fair-minded. And we're not seeing that in our schools, not only in how it's taught, but how kids come out. I'm shocked to see what overconfidence people have about their rectitude around issues of what is the right policy, what is going to lead the greatest good to for the most people, or for their community. I just wanted to give you some unscripted thoughts on education and what it is, why I'm concerned about it, why I do consider it America's most overrated product, and incredibly expensive. The cost of the taxpayer is enormous for the benefits derived. The bureaucracy is mammoth. Anyway, that's more than you probably needed to hear or wanted to hear, but those are my best thoughts on education for what they're worth. In any event, I do thank you for watching. I welcome your thumbs up and accept your thumbs down. I always look forward to your comments, and especially like it if you hit the share button below. Share on your social media so that my efforts can have broader impact. And I am flattered if you choose to subscribe to my channel. In any event, I do thank you for watching. I am Marty Nemko.